Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there in TV land, YouTube land. Got my MAGA hat on, making America great again. A few talking points, right on the Trump assassination attempt. Uh, Talk about how the assassination attempt is not what it seems to be. It's a total conspiracy theory done by the deep state, the integrated Washington insiders, the power people that have been in power there for 30, 40 years or more and are deathly afraid that if Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, they're deathly afraid that they're going to lose everything, because if he does become president of the United States, he's going to, every agency there, he's going to, from the top down, gut them all and put all new guys in there, and they're going to lose all their power, all their money, because that's all they're there for is power and money. They're not there for the American people, all those people in there. They're the people that have been there for 40 years or more. They're not there for us. That's the deep state. That's what you call deep state. I'm not going to name names, but I got videos that we're going to get into. And all the agencies, you get the drift. And it's going to put people in that are going to be righteous to the United States of America and us, the bosses of America, the people, the way it is written in the Constitution of the United States. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to show you is a shocking clip right now that is unreal. You gotta watch this clip. This is the first thing I'm going to show you. And then we're going to get into a couple video clips and then talk about them. All right. Hold on a second. Let me load these up. Just give me a second. I'll get them loaded up. All right, here it comes now. All right. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me get up to it. This is going to blow your mind, ladies and gentlemen, this clip. This is going to set everything else up for the show. Welcome back with another.
Shooter is this investigation as folks try to learn what exactly happened here. Name is Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Okay.
Here in the Bethel Park area, it just all goes to show the scope of this investigation as folks try to learn what exactly happened here. Name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy. Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Let's play that again.
Residents here in the Bethel Park area. It just all goes to show the scope of this investigation as folks try to learn what exactly happened here. My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
Say that one more time.
Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Look at
The gunman here.
that.
And then the last big piece of information that we learned today was that there were explosives found by law enforcement agents both in the gunman's car and at his residence here in the Bethel Park area. It just all goes to show the scope of this investigation as folks try to learn what exactly happened here. My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy. Have an update. The FBI has just.
Is that not mind blowing right there? My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Donald Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy. He was smart enough to put on social media that he's not the killer. He's a patsy. They didn't have that in Oswald shooting Kennedy when the deep state killed that president. This time, there's too much cameras, social media, too much of it out there for them to hide it this time. We'll be back. All right, we're back. Um, anyway, just wanted to say that was amazing what we just heard there. Amazing. I mean, totally amazing. It was mind blowing. That was somewhat of a confession that he said. Basically, I didn't do it. But let's get into another video here. All right. We'll start out with this one here. Okay, well, let me see what we got here. And this is going to back up my theory of it's the deep state, the political assassination to take out Trump. But I was wrong. It wasn't just Democrats. It's the high-profile deep state Republicans, too. And they'll say names. I'm not going to say names. They'll say names. There we go. This is the first one. It's 6 minutes, 25 seconds long.
Your insights, Robert. So thanks for coming on, buddy. Oh yeah, glad to be here. I'll just hand it to you. You take the ball and run with it. What are your thoughts? Well, I mean, the timing was interesting. It was also a Republican National Convention. Yeah, I mean, there were people at that convention who I think would not have been there, but for their belief that something was going to happen to Trump before he got there. That Mitch McConnell and some other folks were there. Mike Pompeo, former head of the CIA, former State Department director, was telling delegates of Iowa, that were coming in to the event that he was going to be the vice presidential nominee. He was never on Trump's list. But he would have been on other people. I think the plan was to assassinate him right before the convention, blame it on Iran, use that as a rallying cry to go to war with him. And for the Republican Party to nominate Nikki Haley as president and Mike Pompeo as vice president. The two biggest sort of neocon deep state allies that were ever part of the Trump administration. In the name of defending the life and legacy of Trump, the nomination, someone who is anti-Trump fundamentally, but would promote the war, it would give Joe Biden an excuse for people to stop talking about how old he is and go. And I think they wanted to go to war with Iran. They thought Iran would step into Israel after October 7th. Iran didn't take the bait, and I think they needed something to accelerate that. They also know they're going to lose in Ukraine, so they need a new war to draw attention, and they need something to feed the military-industrial complex, all those contracts and the like. And I don't think that the timing was right before the convention. In addition, I think they had got word that Trump was not going to pick the vice president they wanted to pick. That they sort of deep state crowd wanted Trump to pick someone that would provide insurance for the deep state, that they could take Trump out at any time and know that the vice president was their ally. And that's who Tim Scott is, that's who Marco Rubio is, that's who Doug Burgum is. And Trump let them think that he might pick them, but it had been clear for about 3 weeks that J.D. Vance was in the lead. J.D. Vance is much more populist. He was anti-Ukraine war. He fought with the Marines in Iraq. So he got lied to. I remember talking to him for about an hour and a half before he made the decision to come out against the Ukraine war back in March of 2022. And so I saw Karl Rove, whose hands were shaking with rage when he got the news that J.D. Vance was going to get picked. So I think the goal on both sides of the state, Republican and Democratic side, was to take Trump out before he could be officially the nominee, before J.D. Vance could be his official successor if I wow. pick. And there's plenty of evidence that we have that here. Wow. One of the key things I always talk about is looking at whether something is a false flag. So, like, sometimes people misunderstand false flag to mean that the event did not occur. A false flag is literally the old pirates would, post the false flag to be able to get real close to the ship they were going to raid. Wait till they get right next to the ship, and then they bring up the old Jolly Roger. And surprise, surprise, we're not the British or the French or the Spanish or whoever you thought we were. So the culprit is not always correctly identified. And that doesn't always require that the culprit they blame not also be a culprit. It just means the narrative of the lone assassin, because America's unique in this respect. We're the only country that always seems to only have a lone assassin. Look at all the other people who get shot around the world. There were some attempted assassination. More often than not, there's some sort of conspiracy afoot, according to the official narrative. But the United States is always just some lone nut job that tried to do something, so that they don't have to have meaningful complicity and culpability. But the way in which it happened, the evidence is already developing. Chris Martinson is doing some great audio analysis work from this as we speak. Strongly suggests that there were multiple shooters, that the key shots didn't come from the supposed assassin. At a minimum, you have security lapses. I would say that's a sign of a red flag of a staged event. A red flag of a false flag is unusual and unexpected security lapses. That suggests somebody on the inside making sures or defenses. But it looks to me that there were probably multiple shooters, and they thought, and in fact, the shots were excellent shots from a sniper's perspective. But Trump just happened to turn his head at exactly the right time. I mean, within a millisecond. If he turned his head in any other different direction, he's dead. And but when he stood up and said, "Fight, fight, fight," I think that was Trump's way of signaling to everybody he knew who and what was behind the assassination. And since then, he's talking to Robert Kennedy about incorporating Kennedy's vaccine policy, and that gets conveniently leaked to the public. He's talking to Robert Kennedy about what happened and how Joe Biden had some unusual questions afterward. Like, why did you turn your head on? Almost like someone complaining about why isn't he dead. He picks J.D. Vance. He accelerates his nomination to Monday afternoon rather than Thursday afternoon. So I think Trump, and I've talked to Don Jr. and some other people, I think they understand who it is that wants Trump out of the way. And I think their failure to get him is going to backfire on them in public policy in a whole bunch of ways. But I have zero doubts that it was at some level an inside job. Actual and unexpected security lapses. That suggests somebody on the inside making sures or defenses. But it looks to me that there were probably multiple shooters, and they thought, and in fact, the shots were excellent shots from a sniper's perspective. But Trump just happened to turn his head at exactly the right time. I mean, within a millisecond. If he turned his head in any other different direction, he's dead. And but when he stood up and said, "Fight, fight, fight," I think that was Trump's way of signaling to everybody he knew who and what was behind the assassination. And since then, he's talking to Robert Kennedy about incorporating Kennedy's vaccine policy, and that gets conveniently leaked to the public. He's talking to Robert Kennedy about what happened and how Joe Biden had some unusual questions afterward. Like, why did you turn your head on? Almost like someone complaining about why isn't he dead. He picks J.D. Vance. He accelerates his nomination to Monday afternoon rather than Thursday afternoon. So I think Trump, and I've talked to Don Jr. and some other people, I think they understand.
All right, that was the first part of the video. We're going to go to a break and we're going to go to the next part of the video. We'll be back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Just a few points on that last video. So the guy said Trump knew who tried to kill him. He talked, after that, he talked to RFK Jr. about it, because the same people of the deep state, but back in the 60s, it was the same kind of people, killed his father and his brother and Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. They're the same people, same Washington insider people. And then he said, when he talked to RFK Jr., he told Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that when Biden called him, Biden asked him a question like, "So Don, why did you turn your head?" What kind of fucking question is that from the president? What kind of fucking question would you ask? Why did you turn your head? Like, he was asking, why wouldn't you keep still? So your fucking head would have got blown the fuck off? What are you, fucking nuts? They're all in on it. Let's get to the next part of that video.
The Blackback Convention, who I think would not have been there. But for their belief that something was going to happen to Trump before he got there. That, Mitch McConnell and some other folks were there. Like Mike Pompeo, former head of the CIA, former State Department. We're the only country that always remote location too. But really, just 100 yards or so away. Then you have, so we know that he was on everybody's attention now, and they did nothing about it. Did you really like your payoff for the car accident last year? Yeah. They also, inside that building, there were Secret Service agents. Right. It's one of why weren't they doing anything when they were notified? Because we now know that local police notified them 10 minutes before, saying there's a guy with a gun on the roof, a guy with a gun on the roof. They all got that notice. Okay. In here, it's one thing to say, well, maybe they're worried about pulling the trigger because maybe there was some other explanation. I'll buy that. Secret Service protocol is not likely. But the thing they can't explain is why was Trump set up on the stage after they were alerted? There's a man with a gun on the roof 100 yards away. Why did they take him down immediately? Correct. Well, they even set him up after they got that notice. They get the notice like, hey, time to go up on stage. So the probability of incompetence as the most likely explanation, just when you go through step by step by step by step, diminishes at each step. And then we have now Chris Martinson doing the sound alert, and what people at the scene said. They said they heard shots from multiple locations. Now, sometimes that can be tricky because you get echoes and a threat. But Chris Martinson has been breaking in, some other sound experts have been breaking down the sound. And they're saying there's multiple shooters. There's at least 2, maybe 3. Wow. One on the water tower, and there might have been someone in that building. The reason why they weren't taking out the assassins, supposed assassins, is someone might have been shooting from that building. So it would have been difficult to know what was going on. And in terms of how many shots and who was shooting from. You've got, as Trump said last night, he said there were bullets still blazing everywhere going over me. That's more like 8, 12 shots than just 2 or 3. That guy should have had the time to get off at all under their own timeline. And so you look at also then they look at the trajectory of the shot.
Okay, so this is exactly what I was going to touch on. Is that a real photo? And for the people that might not have seen it, it's the one where you see the bullet like past Trump, and you can see kind of like the stream through the air, through the bullet piercing the air, like almost like a jet. And if that was real, couldn't an expert analyze the angle of that stream that was created by the trajectory of the bullet to determine if that was coming at a level or an angle that was level to Trump or a level that was elevated?
And initial people looking at it, without getting into that, they don't yet have the full expert analysis, was that trajectory couldn't have come way, apparently, is the same photographer who captured the person whispering into George W. Bush's ear about the tower being attacked on 9/11. So this guy has a magical way of showing up at interesting times. And there's people that are curious whether somebody was tipped off that something big might happen today, you should be here, without necessarily tipping everything off. So, and you could see how the deep state would want Trump killed in a public way. And the message was, don't ever mess with us. If you do stuff, if you decide to challenge us at any level, we'll not only bankrupt you, someone had been shooting from that building, so it would have been difficult to know what was going on. And in terms of how many shots and who was shooting from, you've got, as Trump said last night, he said there were bullets still blazing everywhere going over. That's more like 8, 12 shots than just the 2 or 3. That guy should have had the time to get off at all under their own timeline. And so you look at also then they look at the trajectory of the shot.
Okay, so this is exactly what I was going to touch on. Is that a real photo? And for the people that might not have seen it, it's the one where you see the bullet like pass Trump, and you can see kind of like the stream that through the air, through the bullet piercing the air, like almost like a jet. And if that was real, couldn't an expert analyze the angle of that stream that was created by the trajectory of the bullet to determine if that was coming at a level or an angle that was level to Trump or a level that was elevated?
And initial people looking at it, without getting it, they don't even have the full expert analysis, was that trajectory couldn't have come from that roof.
It looks flat.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. I saw.
That's correct. Now, that itself is interesting. So, why did CNN, of all the rallies, when they've been skipping Trump rallies routinely, why were they covering it live? And why did that reporter, the photographer, my understanding is that photo was taken by a New York Times photographer who had his camera speed at like 800, whatever it was, which is very rare and very unusual. He, by the way, apparently is the same photographer who captured the person whispering into George W. Bush's ear about the tower being attacked on 9/11. So this guy has a magical way of showing up at interesting times. And there's people that are curious whether somebody was tipped off that something big might happen today, you should be here, without necessarily tipping everything off. So, and then you could see how the deep state would want Trump killed in a public way, because the message was, don't ever mess with us. If you do stuff, if you decide to challenge us at any level, we'll not only bankrupt you, very rare and very unusual. He, by the way, apparently is the same photographer who captured the person whispering into George W. Bush's ear about the tower being attacked on 9/11. So this guy has a magical way of people at that convention who I think.
All right, that's the end of that video. There's no words for it. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back with the last part of the videos and the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back for the final segment and the final piece of the video that I wanted you to see. And let's get right into it and finish out the show for tonight.
A few bushes here about the towers being attacked on 9/11. So this guy has a magical way of showing up at interesting times. And there's people that are curious whether somebody was tipped off that something big might happen today. You should be here, without necessarily tipping everything off. So, and then you could see how the deep state would want Trump killed in a public way, because the message was, don't ever mess with us. Don't if you do something, if you decide to challenge us at any level, we'll not only bankrupt you and indict you, we'll flat out murder you. I mean, that's what they did to President John Kennedy, Robert Francis Kennedy Sr., Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. All of those assassinations had at some level government complicity and conspiracy. The only question, to me, that's lasting in the debate is what's the scale and scope of it. I think the same is true of what happened to Trump, and I think Trump knows it, by the way. And I think that's why you're seeing a different tone from him of late. Like last night's speech, kind of thankful to be alive. But I think the other aspect is you're going to see him be much more aggressive at dealing with some of these things than he would have otherwise been. I think that reach out to Robert Kennedy was supposed to signal that. Including Vance's VP was intended to signal that. And that he knows the deep state tried and the deep state missed. And then in ways that it's almost like the bankruptcy cases, the cases trying to make him bankrupt, the cases trying to put him in prison, didn't really shake him up very much. Because he thought, these are crack political cases, they'll get overturned at some higher level. But the attempt to assassinate him did wake him up. And you saw it in line of time. It's like, we need to do some radical change in the America. And that now he's much more committed to it than he otherwise would have been. Because he understands what they tried to do and how they just literally came within a quarter inch of getting their desired result. Didn't really shake him up very much. Because he thought, these are crack political cases, they'll get overturned at some higher level. But the attempt to assassinate him did wake him up. And you saw it in line.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show tonight. Can't be more obvious that this man here is the man that's going to save the country and give it back to the people. Take it away from the deep state of them motherfuckers that don't care about nothing but themselves and making money for the military industrial complex, and they don't care nothing about the people of the United States of America. That we're the power in this country, and Trump's trying to give it back to us. Have a good night. Good day tomorrow. See you later.